Let's talk about the top waiver wire pickups for fantasy baseball this coming week. I'm going to give you 9 players, both hitters and pitchers, that can help improve your team the rest of the way. Hey, young world, guess who's back? It's Jordan Walker, one of the top prospects in all of baseball, St. Louis Cardinals now right fielder. This was one of the most hyped prospects before the season, and when he made the opening day roster, a lot of people went nuts, projecting him to be the rookie of the year. He was picked up everywhere that he wasn't already drafted. It lasted about 3 weeks until he got sent down to the minors to work on his swing. The funny thing is, he wasn't even doing that badly. He was hitting 274 at the time the Cards sent him back down, but I guess he wasn't hitting the ball in the air enough for them. They were looking for some power, some thump in the lineup, and now we're hearing all sorts of things about how maybe this organization is a little off base and what they're looking for, and kind of messed with his head because then they got him off track of what he was trying to do, was just make contact. Anyways, as it turns out, he's back. They're giving him another shot. I think he's gonna figure it out. He hasn't quite figured it out yet. His first 3 games since getting called up, 2 for 12, not lifting the ball in the air, but of course, this is a super young player. It will take some time. You know the massive upside. If he does get hot, we are looking at a potential rookie of the year here. So if he is available anywhere in any of your leagues, yeah, go ahead and make the claim. It is worth the risk. Another high-end prospect, but a guy who's been on that list for a couple years now because he just can't stay healthy. Is this the time that Royce Lewis of the Minnesota Twins finally does it and manages to play the majority of a season? I'll tell you, this is just one of those guys I can't quit. I know it's a lot of it because he was the top pick in the draft a few years ago. He's got that tantalizing power speed combo. He's a tools guy, right? Somebody that you just drool when you see the potential for what he can accomplish. I'm not saying he's the next Ronald Acuna, but this is somebody who can absolutely help you in both home runs, speed, average, pretty much everywhere. The injury history is long, and it took until just now for him to get on the field this season for Minnesota, but he's done that, and just to make us a little more intrigued, in his first game action, hit a home run, and then did it again 2 days later. So what's the move for Lewis? Make a claim, spend up on fab. He could hold down third base for the Twins pretty much for the rest of the season. I mean, this is a team, I've talked about it a lot, so many injuries in that lineup and some disappointing performances. I mean, Lewis is a guy they want to have in their lineup if he's healthy. So if it all works out, this could finally be his breakout season. Now going out to the desert, if you're looking for some speed, remember Jake McCarthy? He was a guy who was drafted in a lot of fantasy leagues this year, kind of a sleeper at outfielder because he did pretty well last year, and then this year was absolutely bombing until he got hurt. He was pretty much dropped universally. Diamondbacks have a lot of young players. It was even hard to see if McCarthy would get back in the mix once he was healthy, but now he's back. He's been playing, and look, he even got his average back up to 200 at one point. It's down to 191 as of right now, but here's the good side. He's got 8 stolen bases in 30 games. So you imagine if he does stay in the lineup for the most part the rest of this season, you could see him getting over 30 steals. And if that average does come around to at least a decent mark, I mean, this is a guy who can definitely help you. He did hit 283 last year, so we know the potential is there. No, you're not getting power, but at this point, you're looking for average and some mainly speed off the waiver wire. Definitely worth taking a shot. On the flip side, if you're looking for an outfielder that can just give you power, you might have also forgotten about Adam Duvall, who really wasn't drafted anywhere, but was picked up everywhere because he was Major League Baseball's hottest hitter of all over the first couple of weeks of the season. 455 average and 4 home runs in just 37 plate appearances. He's been on the injured list ever since then, but now it looks like he is finally coming back. June 9th is his estimated return date. That means this is the week to make a move and pick him up before he gets back on the field. I mentioned this a week ago when I talked about some players that you might want to cut ties with. Jarren Duran, young player in Boston who they really would like to own the outfield spot. Well, he has gone ice cold, and this coincides with Adam Duvall coming back. We could see a platoon here, but also if Duvall hits anywhere close to where he was hitting before and Duran keeps struggling, Duvall could just take that job outright. Now, because he was on the long-term IL, a lot of people just stashed Duvall. He's still 64% rostered across Yahoo leagues, So he may not be out there in your league, but if you're in a shallower league or somebody just didn't feel like stashing him, go ahead and check, because this is somebody that you potentially right now could put on your IL ahead of time until it's time to activate him. And I've got another injury stash for you, someone who hasn't played at all in the majors this season. Right after the World Baseball Classic, Luis Urias of the Milwaukee Brewers was sent packing with a hamstring strain to the injured list. Well, he's supposed to come back Tuesday, and now he's in the mix for potentially the third base job, which was his before the season started. And now it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because Milwaukee has been mixing and matching so many players across mid and corner infield. Let's see what happens if he just gets regular at-bats there, or if he has to compete for playing time. Owen Miller, which has been a great pickup for a lot of people off the waiver wire, has been hot. And now, just to make things more interesting, they just brought up a guy named Andrew Monasterio, and he just went deep for his first major league home run. He's hitting .417, so who knows if he's going to be in the mix too. But either way, Urias is the one who has a track record. He should be the one as the best defensive option. If he starts hitting, you'll have no problem seeing him in the lineup on a regular basis. He's someone who's got some power, some speed, and a great hit tool. Remember, this is a former top prospect for the San Diego Padres before he got moved to Milwaukee. Now, there is a good chance that he is out there because, again, hasn't even played. Nobody who had him probably chose to stash him because of how long he was hurt. So go ahead and search for Luis Urias and see if he can help you, because he does qualify also at multiple infield spots. Now, I also have to mention somebody who's been scooped up a lot lately and can qualify at second base, third base, shortstop, and outfield, Zach McKinstry of the Detroit Tigers. Now, McKinstry came over from the Dodgers. I mean, he's really just kind of this super utility guy who can slot in at all those positions and help out defensively. Known to, occasionally swing a hot bat, but really no one who presented a ton of upside, especially for fantasy. And then here he goes now, being among the league leaders in expected batting average in the 93rd percentile. Ex-WOBA, he's in the 92nd percentile, and he's walking 14% of the time, which is among the best in the bigs too. While he's never going to be a power hitter, and I don't know how long he'll be among the league leaders in hitting, he is going to give you something in the stolen base department. He's got 10 steals already, and so if he keeps hitting at least close to how he is, he's going to score you some runs. He's going to help you a little bit everywhere, and the versatility is really the appeal here. So McKinstry, I think it's time to buy in, at least for the short term. Not sure if I can really buy into him being a fantasy asset all season, but hey, for the time being, maybe this is just him feeling at home in a place where he's getting finally regular playing time. And then I got a couple of pitchers for you. We have to start with Bobby Miller for the Dodgers. If you haven't grabbed him already, if he's somehow still out there, yeah, I think let's go ahead and believe in what we've seen so far. That is 2 outstanding starts since he got called up. His first 2 outings only allowed 1 run and 4 hits in each, going 5 and 6 innings. He's got a heater that averages 99 miles per hour. So he hasn't struck out a ton yet, but 9 strikeouts in 11 innings, not too bad. And the strikeouts will come if he keeps pitching as effectively as he has. I mean, you're not going to complain even if the K rate is a little lower than it was in the minors. It's really interesting to see how some of these prospects who are all graded out very similarly, some just immediately take and then some flop. I'm talking about Gavin Stone, who, man, just hit hard every time he's gone out there. And then Miller, on the other hand, has been amazing so far. I know I always say with rookie pitchers, you have to be careful because there will come a time where he'll get thumped. But for now, buy in, keep the faith, and see what happens. With Louis Varland of the Minnesota Twins, well, we do have a little bit more of a sample size for him because he did pitch some last year, and now with this year, across his first 12 major league starts, it's been pretty effective. Most impressively, he has a 5% walk rate in his major league experience. He's not getting himself into trouble, and that's definitely the first sign that you want to see. Now, he doesn't have really a wipeout pitch. He's not a guy who's going to throw filthy stuff and get on these pitching ninja highlights and stuff like that, but he's getting the job done. And what I do like is he's got a 4-pitch mix, and they're all pretty effective pitches. He doesn't just rely on one or the other. He's got a whiff rate of 24% or higher on all 4 pitches. This is one of those steady contributors that doesn't jump off the page for you, But I think just not getting lit up on a regular occasion is good enough at this point in the season. You want to stabilize those ratios, and Varland looks like a guy who can do that for you. But then if you just want pure stuff, let me go back to one of my preseason favorites. Even though he's not a closer and he's not a starter, Andres Munoz of the Seattle Mariners. He is a flamethrower. He will average 99 miles per hour in his fastball. He's already up to that level in his rehab outings. He's had a couple already AAA, which means he's on the verge of coming back after being injured. Now, here's the thing with Munoz. Injuries. It keeps happening to him. You have to really wonder how long it'll be before another one crops up. You know what? You scoop him up if you need help in middle relief. That's the time to do it before he goes out there and does perform. Munoz has such a high ceiling, and I know you're saying, well, you're not really getting wins or saves necessarily. He might pick up one in relief here or there, but you're not guaranteed that. What I'm looking for here is elite help in the strikeout category from a relief pitcher, and he should have really good ERA and whip because he just gets guys out. If you're having trouble finding a reliable starting pitcher, or maybe you're just not too worried about saves, or maybe if you're in a save and hold league, then especially you want him. But a lot of times it's just better to go with a couple of really good middle relievers who can help your ratios and get you some strikeouts, as opposed to flip-flopping and streaming these starting pitchers who are so inconsistent and might get hit hard and hurt you. I mean, Munoz is the rare exception where he's a middle reliever I will just keep in my lineup every day, even if I don't have hold as a category. Those players can help you right now in your fantasy leagues. These players are done being contributors. I think it's time for you to part ways with them.